Welcome back to another Spirit Island video. In this video, I'm going to be continuing my basic strategy guide, this time looking at Reach Shadows. Now, let's flip over the Spirit board and look at the setup. We're going to have three presents on our starting board, two in the highest number jungle and one in land number 5. Now, on some boards, land number 5 may be your highest jungle. A good example would be board F. And if that is the case, you're going to have all three of your presents in the same land. So try not to pick that board. Shadows is a low complexity spirit that techs high into fear and control. I think the offense here is a bit exaggerated. I think the offense should be lower and the control should be higher, but that's just my own personal gripes. Shadows has very low defense and very low utility. Flipping the spirit board over, you have Shadows with the reach aspect. Now, normally, Shadows special rule says you may pay an energy to ignore range when targeting a land with Dahan. Now, you can use that as many times as you would like in a turn, but it costs you 1 energy every time you use it. Now, Reach, in my opinion, is a strict upgrade, and that is because it says once per turn, you may ignore range. So it gets rid of the paying energy to affect Dahan lands and just says only once, though, you may ignore range. And I actually find this to be better because paying energy to target Dahan lands is just so painful with Shadows just because you have a very crippled energy economy. Now, I do think both Foreboding and Darkfire aspects are better than the Reach aspect, but I just love the simplicity of this aspect. I love simple spirits, and that's what Reach does. Now, Reach Shadows is a 0/1/1, and that means it doesn't have a presence placement on Reclaim, and it has 2 presence placement options. It is a Reclaim power card gain. A power card gain, place a presence at 1 range, and finally place a presence at 3 range and gaining 3 energy. You have some of the best tracks in the game at 6 energy in 5 plays, but you have the worst starting tracks at 0 energy and 1 play. Your plays track jumps from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and then you have a dead space here, and then 4, 5, and then your energy goes from 0 to 1, and then a huge jump to 3 energy, and then it ticks up by 1 for the remaining 3 times. Now, because you are 0/1/1, you're not going to max out your tracks. A lot of times with this spirit, you usually enter 3/3, and 3/3 is really the golden way to play Spirit Island. Having 3 energy a turn and 3 plays allows you to play majors and also threshold them. Looking at your innate power, it's called Darkness Swallows the Unwary. It's a fast power, Sacred Sight 1 range, 2 moon, a fire, gather an explorer, 3 moon, 2 fire, destroy up to 2 explorers, 1 fear per explorer destroyed. And finally, 4 moon, 3 fire, and 2 air for 3 damage, 1 fear per invader destroyed by this damage. So, a way to generate a lot of fear and also a very nice control. Oh, and that's why they rate the offense bar high, is because there's damage here. I never really, well, so this innate, this 3rd tier is like a dream. You're never going to get it. And the reason is because first, it requires 4 moon, which means you're going to need to have at least your 4th play unlocked, which is going to be insane to actually reach that, right? Because you're a 0/1/1. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because you're likely taking 2 reclaims. So the earliest you're going to be hitting this innate is like turn 7-ish. And this is assuming like solo play, right? If you're getting supported, then of course you probably can, right? But like in most games, you're not going to be able to. So like turn 7, turn 8 is when you're going to be able to hit this innate. In addition, if you look at your cards, you have your 4 moon, 3 air, but you're missing the 3rd fire that this innate requires. So if you were, or if you want to hit this innate, I believe you need to draft a perfect element card. It has to be a moon, fire, air to actually hit this innate on 4 plays. And I believe that is the case. Yes, because, yep, if this is, yeah, so in order to hit this with your current starting cards, yeah, you need to have at least 5 plays unless you draft a perfect element card, and some of those would be like Land of Haunted Embers. What are the cards? Land of Haunted Embers is like the famous one. What is it? Elemental Boon is another. Lure of the Unknown. They're Lure of the Unknown. There's that Moonfire Air. I think those are the only 3. There might be a 4th one, but I'm not going to stress about that. So looking at your power cards, we have Concealing Shadows, which is a 0 energy fast power, Moon Air, 0 range, 1 fear. Dahan take no damage from ravaging invaders this turn. So this is your card that you're going to use to protect Dahan in the Ravage. Now, what pairs up with this? Dahan movement. And that's where we get Favors Called Due. This is a 1 energy, slow power, moon, air, animal, 1 range. Gather up to 4 Dahan if invaders and Dahan are present. And Dahan outnumber the invaders, 3 fears. So essentially, you want to play your Favors Called Due, set up Dahan, and then use Concealing Shadows to protect those Dahan. And because they have the same elements, you want to play these on different turns. You then have your Moonfire cards. You have Crops, Wither, and Fade. It's a 1 energy, slow power, Moonfire plant, 0 range, 2 fear, and then you get to downgrade a town into an explorer or a city into a town. And it says replace. Well, they end up turning this into a keyword in the Nature Incarnate expansion called downgrade. So if the spirit ever gets redone, that's how this card would be written as. Now, I use this card to reduce the city count on my board. And the reason for that is Shadows is going to be generating so much fear across its cards. It actually generates some of the most from its uniques. It's actually 8 fear, which is pretty insane. If you look at current spirits now, Nature Incarnate, Jagged Earth, none of those spirits come close to 8 fear off its uniques. So usually I use this to get rid of cities, such that I can generate or achieve a fast win, a fast tier level 3 win. The last card we have is Mantle of Dread. This is like your support card. It's a 1 energy, slow power, Moon, Fire, Air. It's perfect element. I love this card. Targets a player, 2 fear, and then that spirit may push 1 explorer and 1 town from one of their lands. This card is excellent. It's a great way to disrupt those build Ravage cycles. You can also use this to pocket boards, like by donating this to another spirit. That single donate can be the difference between pocketing their inland and not pocketing it. So we talked about everything. Let's talk about playing the spirit. So a lot of times I choose my G3 turn 1 going from bottom track, and I want to hit this innate such that I can disrupt a build. I then look at my board and say, oh, this is the land that I need to clear, but I don't have Dahan in there. So I'm going to choose my energy, and I'm going to place my presence over here into the mountain. I'm placing my presence into the mountain because I want to be playing Mantle of Dread this turn because I want to disrupt this land if it comes up. Now, like I said, I want to hit this innate, so if I'm playing my Mantle of Dread, I need to play another moon card. Well, like I said, I want to be able to get Dahan into my C2, and that's where Favors Called Due comes into play. So almost always you're going to be playing Favors to set up Dahan in the land that you want to have the Dahan counterattack. And on some boards, your town land starts in your land with your starting presence. This board it did not, and that's why I'm playing Mantle of Dread. So the perfect explorer would be if the next explorer is mountain, I'd be very happy with that because that means I'd immediately stop the city build as well as kind of create a little bit of a pocket. So excellent here. Now by playing both of these cards, I now hit that innate. I'm going to use my innate here, and I'm actually going to gather the explorer into the coast, and that is because if I gather it into this mountain here and the mountain comes up, my Mantle of Dread is not going to be able to push both explorers. If I gather into the wetland, in wetland explorers, I won't be able to stop both of the explorers in that land, but when I choose my C1, I can. I'm okay if jungles comes up here and wetland comes up, so it's the exact same thing that I mentioned, where now, if I would like, I'm able to put or gather that explorer out. Now, I'm going to Mantle of Dread, and I'm going to choose, well, I have some interesting options. I actually could choose here on C5, pushing that explorer out, or I can choose my C7, pushing the town out. I think it's probably better to push the explorer out just to get ahead that way. And before I do that, I'm actually going to be playing my Favors Called Due into my C2. And the reason I'm doing it first is because if I have more Dahan than invaders, I generate 3 fear. I'm going to do that, gather all of these guys, get 3 fear, and then I'm going to use Mantle of Dread here, pushing that explorer into my C2. So I chose to go to 2 plays, and then now I'm going to choose my G2, getting a power card. Now, sometimes I go to 3 plays, and that is going to be based on my draft. If I draft a very strong 0-cost card, usually an energy support card like Gift of Constancy, Living Energy, stuff like that, I'll go to 3 plays. Otherwise, I go to the 1 energy. So let's see what I draft here. And I ended up getting some Sear Anger, Gold's Allure, Blood Draws Predators, and Call to Trade. So Call to Trade is actually one of the best cards in the entire game, as it's a way for me to stop Ravages. It's just so powerful. Um, so in this game, I'm not gonna grab it. I don't think we need it. Um, Usually I'm looking for like a Moonfire card, Defend. I didn't really get that here. Um, I think what I'm going to do here is go with a probably go with Gold's Allure, as that is another control card. Sear Anger, Badlands doesn't really help us. Now I'm gonna place my presence, and my presence I'm going to place in my land C1 here. I'm gonna go from top track, Crops Wither, as well as Concealing Shadow here. Now I'm going to use my Innate once again to pull that Explorer out of my C8. I'm going to use my Concealing Shadows with my Reach to hit my C2. And then I have my Crops Wither and Fade to downgrade the town here next turn. So Crops Wither and Fade, and let's see what we get. So pull together, Dahan Defend, and Beast Destroy. Sure. And too many monsters, doesn't do anything. So I take the Blight there, but the land clears. And that's the key part about Shadows, is you want to clear out those building lands. And we have Mountains as the follow-up. And like I said, I'm going to be playing my Crops Wither and Fade to downgrade the town on my C7. So I'm going to look, and I actually, so this is where, so Shadows is a very interesting spirit. And in solo, especially in low diff, the Fear deck is going to be so small, and it's so easy to disrupt all of the buildings. And as a result, you can win a very quick tier level 2 victory. And that's what you're going to see here, because, well, actually, I needed to find a fast fear option when I reclaim here. And I actually didn't get it, so I won't be able to win in the fast, which is a bit of a sad, but it's okay. We'll get through it. I'm going to go with Elusive Ambushes because it's a defend 4. And now that I think about it, I wonder, did I pass up a fear card turn 1? No, I did not. Okay. So once again, I'm going to just stick to the plan of trying to hit this Innate to stop builds. I notice, oh look, my C7 doesn't have buildings. So what I'm going to do, well, honestly, I should, because I'm playing solo low diff, I really should just play cards that generate fear. If it was higher difficulty, I'd be playing Favors Call Due, plus Crops Wither and Fade. I'll still play the cards, it's okay. I'll use my Innate once again to stop a build over here on C3. And we have Gradual Corruption. I have no building, so it doesn't hit. And I can add it to Han. Sure. Ravage Skip doesn't matter. Build Mountain, and the Explorer's Mountain again. Now, this is where what I would do is I would use Favor here, gathering Dahan into C7, and then I'd be playing my Concealing Shadows to prevent that land from the Dahan from dying, and then they would counterattack. But I actually have a win here, and that is if I use Favor's Call Due on my C3. I'll generate 3 fear, entering tier level 2, and then I have my Crops Wither and Fade to downgrade that last town, and that is GG. So a very good game. And so Shadows is such an interesting spirit, right? Like, when you're playing solo, a lower difficulty, it's significantly easier. But as soon as you start raising the difficulty, you'll notice that the spirit actually has a pretty hard time. And that is because your control tools don't always work against adversaries. So the spirit has invested power in its kit to disrupting certain problems, and those problems don't exist against some of the harder adversaries. And that tends to be why Shadows gets rated as one of the weaker spirits in Spirit Island. Hopefully this video was helpful to someone that was trying to learn Shadows Reach. If you like this video, like and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video.